shopping bags and other single-use plastics are to be phased out starting in 3 years as part of Guyana's commitment to a greener planet. Single-use plastic bags and other single-use plastic products, such as food containers, leave a large carbon footprint, leach cancer-causing chemicals into our food and pollute the oceans, posing a serious threat to marine life. In this InfoHub Extended, Stacey Carmichael examines the effects of single-use plastics and the government's efforts to eliminate its use locally.
Single-use plastics are 35 microns thick or 0.035 millimeters, have low recycling capacity, made of polyethylene, and are environmentally persistent. This means they take thousands of years to break down. Plastic bags are made from crude oil, natural gas, and what are known as petrochemical derivatives. These are made from compounds that are called monomers that are transformed into a long chain of molecules called polymers with the help of a process called polymerization. Research shows that each year over 5 billion gallons of crude oil is used in making plastic bags. Production of plastics requires the use of toxic substances that can leach into the surroundings. These chemicals are very harmful to those workers exposed to such environment during plastics production. In light of these daunting facts, the government of Guyana, in its efforts towards achieving a green state, has embarked on a 3-year journey of phasing out the use of these harmful plastics. The Department of Environment, under the purview of the Ministry of the Presidency, has proposed the implementation of a ban on single-use plastics. The department proposed to the Cabinet that the ban be imposed on the importation, manufacture and sale of single-use plastic bags and other single-use plastic products. Minister of State Joseph Harmon at April's Earth Day celebration said while plastics are useful, the toxic materials they are composed of pose too many threats to the earth for them to be ignored.
Guyana is no exception to the problems caused by indiscriminate use of plastics and the inefficiency of our disposal system. I'm very happy to learn of the interventions made by the United Nations Development Program in Guyana in assisting our municipalities and in assisting some of our new townships in trying to ensure that waste disposal is something that is done in a sustainable manner.
Minister Harmon referenced President David Granger's address to the United Nations 71st General Assembly, where he restated Guyana's commitment to developing a green state.
Guyana is part of this global green movement. Its natural assets, commitment to sustainable development, contribution to countering the adverse effects of climate change, and collaboration with the international community in seeking solutions to global threats have distinguished it as an emergent green state. It is a state that will ensure a secure future for its people in the pursuit of a green economy.
Stakeholder Management Coordinator, Department of Environment, ARETHA FORDE, proposed a number of initiatives aligned with the Green State Development Strategy, GSDS, which can be done. She spoke at the first in a series of national consultations on the proposed ban hosted by the department on June 5, in keeping with the United Nations World Environment Day theme, Beating Plastic Pollution.
To have the drafting of regulations, the development of standards, and identification of alternatives, to propose fiscal incentives for the private sector, and to impose an environmental levy. And of course, these actions will be done simultaneously. We've learned from previous experience with the styrofoam ban that we need not wait on one step to continue to start another. And of course, I speak from experience, especially as it relates to the development of standards and the identification of alternatives. So for those of you who represent the private sector, I urge you today to start looking for those alternatives.
Guyana, as a leader in biodiversity, conservation and environmental management, is taking steps to reduce the use of plastics and the impacts they have on the environment. One such initiative FORDE highlighted is the consultations with supermarkets. It is the department's intention to have wider consultations.
To take this discussion to the municipal markets, because what we found is that when a fee is imposed on the plastic bags, the persons who shop in the supermarkets can afford to pay that fee. And so we also need to target the persons who do not shop at the supermarkets. Of course, there is the proposed ban on single-use plastic products, and we do expect your full support, not only in saying that yes, there should be a ban on single-use plastics, but also as individuals and organizations to institute policies and to take individual and household actions.
Statistics from the Mayor and City Council show that more than 7,000 tons of single-use plastics are taken to our landfill annually. Therefore, the Department of Environment is proposing eco-friendly alternatives, such as the use of cloth bags, bamboo utensils, and paper containers. According to the department's head, NDIBI SCHWIERS, in 3 years, Guyana should develop the kind of policy or plan to enable the quick transition from single-use plastics. She believes that the awareness process starts at the school level.
We need to then involve them when we are making serious decisions like these for the country. The next thing is, and I'm quite sure that you probably heard of it this morning, I don't know, but we are proud to say that the country has now joined the global alliance or the global campaign on oceans. This, in my opinion, demonstrates the seriousness of the government to not only protecting the environment, but to also ensuring that single-use plastics and the use of single-use plastics in this country becomes a thing of the past.
The Clean Seas campaign was launched in January 2017 by the United Nations Environment Programme. It aims to increase global awareness of the need to reduce marine litter. According to the UN, the need for measures differs in different parts of the world. Proper waste management infrastructure is lacking in some areas, while in others the challenge involves the general public's awareness of the impact litter has on the environment. Executive Director Acting EPA Kemraj Parashram noted whilst the entity's role is to sensitize the population on plastics' harmful effects, each person has a critical role in ensuring the successful phasing out of its use locally.
The key thing is that we need to ensure that we are all on the same page, and what we produce from these conversations is something that is homegrown and is not necessarily what the UN say. I may get some stick for this, but what's really in our interest as Guyanese. Yes, we want to ensure that our marine mammals, our biodiversity are protected. We want to protect our health, but we also want to have our businesses thrive and ensure that we have a sustainable Guyana.
Director Solid Waste Management, Mayor and City Council Walter NARINE, said citizens can make a commitment to become vehicles of change in the government's efforts to eliminate plastic use.
Example, say no to plastic forks, plates, bags, etc., and use reusable items. You may not know what single-use plastic is, but you're likely to use it recently when you drink a bottle of water or soda. Use a straw, carry vegetables from the markets, and we all know every single item you buy from the municipal markets or any market, you get put in a plastic bag, and you take it home. As my colleague just said, everybody's house, in some drawer stocked away, they pile of plastic bags. And surprising enough is that when you know you're going to the supermarket or you're going to the market the next day, you do not take any of these bags back with you.
Plastic pollution is threatening our ecosystem, biodiversity and health at a pace and scale never seen before. Earth, NARINE pointed out, is not a single-use planet, and our actions can make a difference.
From the municipal Mayor and City Council's point of view, we are advocating for and we're fully supporting the ban on single-use plastics. It has become significant because Georgetown, as you know, could only withstand 4 inches of rainfall at any given time. Only 4 inches. And by the actions of many of us, plastics we know are light. I wouldn't say anybody deliberately throw the plastic items into the drains, but with the wind, they move. And one single plastic bag can cause severe flooding. We've experienced flooding in Georgetown many, many times. And when you desilt and when you remove from the cocoa heads, you find a whole lot of plastics.
Senior Environmental Officer, EPA Karen Watson, in her presentation at the consultation, referenced the survey conducted in Georgetown in 2009, which showed that the plastic materials polyethylene or PET and high-density polyethylene or HDPE accounts for 10% of the waste going to the landfill site, which is an approximate 10,000 tons annually. The 2005 floods, she noted, were exacerbated in part by drains clogged with plastic waste. Watson shared a study which shows how waste plastics can be used as a substitute material in the construction of building blocks.
The idea of using waste plastic as an aggregating construction material is not new. It's increasingly being researched, Several studies mention the use of plastic as aggregate in concrete. In the USA, a study was done utilizing discarded mixed plastic in blocks. The strengths obtained indicated that the blocks can be used as insulation in walls. In South Korea also, engineers studied the mechanical properties of polymer concrete with recycled PET and recycled concrete aggregates. Strengths obtained indicated that the blocks can be used in culverts, hazardous waste containers, trench lines, and also for the flow of drains.
The study concluded that the blocks made from waste plastics were lighter, had comparable strength to regular blocks, required less manual strength in construction, and had lower transportation costs. It is not just the land that is impacted due to the plastic pollution, but water bodies as well. Because the waste is being dumped into the sea, stats show that more than 100,000 marine animals are killed each year as they ingest this waste thinking it is food. There is also the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is simply a sea of plastic, but it's not the only marine trash vortex. It is simply the biggest. This area contains bottle caps, plastic bags, fragments of hard hats, and long-forgotten toys. Recent estimations put the Great Pacific Garbage Patch at 3 times the size of France or 9 times the size of Guyana. In a recent study published in the Journal of Environmental Science and Technology, it's estimated that at the surface of the patch, plastic outnumbers organisms by 180 to 1. President, Guyana Marine Turtle Conservation Society ANNETTE ARJOON Martins explained the danger these plastics pose to our marine life.
We started noticing a lot of plastic now, in addition to the coconut husk, which of course we know plastic takes hundreds of years to even disintegrate. And even when they do disintegrate, they just don't fall through a hole in the bottom of the sea. They become, smaller particles, which of course are also ingested by our marine life, including fish. But after we started seeing this transition of now massive amount of plastic debris washing up on the shore, we also noted something developing which at the time we couldn't figure out what was going on, where the fishermen would now be retrieving turtles who were found bobbing helplessly in the sea and appear very sick. And because of our awareness, people were aware that when they saw turtles in critical situations, give us a call. So we started getting a lot of calls from fishermen who would pick up these turtles bobbing in the sea, that would bring them out into the wharf, and then we'd go and collect them. And thanks to the Protected Areas Commission, we were allowed to use the facilities at the Guyana National Zoo, where Dr. Waldron, who has been given pro bono services forever, would attend to these distressed turtles.
When the sea turtles ingest the plastics, which they mistake for jellyfish, it hampers their digestive processes and affect their reproductive cycles.
And I want to say too that, we also have a dependency syndrome where we throw our garbage, block up the canals, and then we wait for the government to come and help us with excavators and whatever. And I think that sort of conversation needs to start changing. And I find, would change faster when we feel it in some way. And maybe one of the things might be radical is that when we have overtopping, if we have those situations, well, then maybe the ministry that's providing the relief could start billing the NDC for that, the service. And that way, maybe it could sort of propel change faster.
Supermarkets play a crucial role in assisting with the reduction in single-use plastics locally, and MASSYS store has been at the forefront of the campaign. At the national consultation, MATTAI store's owner, Harry MATTAI, said as a private sector member, he is pleased to see the advancement through laws, regulations, and the practices of good people. His store will continue to do its part to support the administration's drive.
It was the visual of large heaps of trash that scattered food boxes that prompted this action, and for the realization that it was not something that we wanted for green Guyana. Today, this simple action has translated to many other initiatives carried out by our supermarkets. Namely, we, of our own budget, have printed and distributed over 20,000 reusable shopping bags to consumers and friends in our supermarket. We encourage consumers to bring these bags back when they shop so that they understand that plastic is not the only solution. I'd like to add Mrs. Archer and Mr. NARINE, is not only bringing your bags, but using it. It is important we find at our store that people do bring the bags, but they still ask for a plastic bag and then put it in the bag. It's really sad. In our recently constructed supermarket in Water Street, we have installed a storage area accessible to consumers which stores cardboard boxes with the intention that if consumers prefer to box their groceries, they are given that option.
Executive Member, Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association Ramesh Duku added his voice to the discussions by highlighting other plastic products that contribute to pollution locally. He quoted statistics from a 2010 study.
Lubricants, degreasers, transmission fluids, brake fluids, window cleaners, pharmaceuticals, patent medicine, cosmetology, and beauty enhancement products are all a part of keeping pets company.
Plastics contribute to our daily life functions in many aspects. Household goods are mainly composed of plastic or plastic-reinforced materials, from packaging, clothing, appliances, and electrical and vehicle equipment, to installations, industrial applications, greenhouses, automotive parts, and more. However, plastics are taking a toll on the environment, health, and well-being of humans and animals, both on land and at sea. As part of the government's commitment to care for the earth and preserve its ecosystems, several measures have been implemented to curtail the use of plastic receptacles in Guyana. In January of last year, the administration tabled and passed an amendment to the Customs Act, which stipulated that importers of plastic containers pay an environmental levy to the Guyana Revenue Authority.
You have been watching InfoHub Extended, where we highlighted the government's efforts to eliminate the use of single-use plastics. Thanks for watching. Do join us again. Goodbye.